Hi, folks. Good morning. I'm meteorologist Tom Schmidt with Ozarks First. You may have heard the saying, April showers bring May flowers. But what happens in May? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. We're going to look over some May weather folklore for you. We're going to start things off with folklore number one that says, when September has been rainy, the following May is generally dry. When May is dry, September is apt to be wet. Well, okay, so what does that exactly mean? Well, it's trying to draw a connection between the weather you see in May will be similar in September, right? So if you have a wet September, you can expect that it will be dry in May. If you have a dry May, then it's thought to believe that September will be wet. Well, so what happened this past September? Is there any truth in this? Well, let's see what we had. Okay, so this past September, 2024, in Springfield, we had 1.71 inches of rainfall. Now, we average over 4 inches of rainfall typically for the month of September. So it wasn't a wet September at all. It was actually a very dry September. So maybe if you switch the weather conditions from wet to dry for September, can you do the same for May? I don't know. We'll see what happens here. May is typically our wettest month, and so it is unusual to have a dry May. But we average over 5 inches of rain for the month of May here in Springfield. We've already seen some rain come through as well, picking up nearly an inch so far for the month. All right, up next is a wet May will find a barn full of hay. This has to do a little bit with the old saying, April showers bring May flowers, right? May is a month of growth. Spring, of course, is in full swing. Things are growing quickly. You have a lot of rejuvenation that is, and things grow. So, hay, grass is springing to life, right? Things look very lush. And, so a wet May, of course, just aids in the growing season. And so you can expect to have, a full barn of hay. Your stores will be overflowing. You'll be the plentiful bounty, if you will, if you have a wet May, since it is such kind of the peak growing season for many of the harvest crops and grass and hay and that kind of thing. Really starts to take root for the month of May. All right, so up next, this one I felt was appropriate, folklore number 3. It's appropriate because of the conclave, of course, happening in recent times, trying to pick out the new pope. So this one has to do with 3 French saints, Saint Memeritus, Saint Pancras, and Saint Gervais do not pass without frost. All right, so what exactly does that mean for you? Well, these saints all celebrated their days, respectively, on May 11th, May 12th, and May 13th. They'd have a big feast. It'd be a whole thing, right? It's kind of like St. Patrick's Day. There'd be a St. Memeritus Day. There'd be a St. Pancras Day, a St. Gervais Day, all right, over in France. And so those days happen to fall 1 days after a row, the 11th, 12th, and 13th of May. Now, the French environment, weather-wise, is a little different than over here in the United States, and you can still get some mid-May frost and freezes in there, okay? So since they were French, it was determined in France that you don't want to plant or do any gardening until after those days have passed, May 11th, May 12th, and May 13th. After those saint days have passed, now you can typically go ahead and do your planting, do your gardening, and start putting stuff in the ground. So that's where that saying comes from. Thought it was kind of appropriate given the time for the conclave and everything happening in the Vatican right now, choosing the next pope. All right, so there you go. There's some May weather folklore for you. Again, not as common with May as it is with April, and March has some other interesting weather folklore topics that we've done earlier on in the season. May, a little thin, a little bare. Now, things for folklore do pick up again for June. Tune in. I'll do another update for June weather folklore once we get into that month. In the meantime, happy May. We've got the May flowers, and we'll see. May is typically our wettest month of the year in Springfield. I'm Ozarks First Meteorologist Tom Schmidt. Happy May.